Hey, don't go on a road trip ever without first doing this. So we're going to go into the acronym LIFT, L-I-F-T. That's what we're going to use today to do your pre-trip inspection of your vehicle. So the first thing we're going to do is the letter L. This letter represents the word listen. Now, I'm not going to take you out on a test drive with my car because right now my car makes none of those sounds that I'm going to tell you about. But I will go over them so you know what to listen for. This should be something you're doing all the time, not just when you're getting ready to go on a big road trip. You should always know what your car sounds like. You should know what it sounds like when it's healthy, so you'll know what it sounds like when there's something going on. This will keep you safe and your family safe. So, sometimes drive without the radio on. Just saying, I love my tunes, but if you drive without the radio on, every now and then you're going to have a better idea of what it's supposed to sound like. So there are certain sounds that you need to listen for that are big indicators and will help you a lot with what you need to be attuned with. One of those is this squeaking sound that kind of is really loud when you first start your car and then it dissipates to nothing, or it does keep going, but it's in the front of your engine. That's the big key there, in the front of your car. And that is a belt. That can be a lot of different things. It can be the belt is loose, the belt is old. One of the pulleys that it's going around, because it's going to go around a number of pulleys, and we'll look at those in a moment when we go into the engine compartment of our car. But those could signify a lot of different things that you need to make sure. Some are minor, some are not. If you have bearings going bad in your alternator or your power steering pump or your water pump, those things can be really bad news. So we need to make sure that it's not those things before you go on a road trip. The other thing that you need to listen for are brake sounds. What does it sound like when you push the brakes? If it squeaks, that is a big sign you need to get your brake pads changed. And I mean, before this road trip. Brake pads, a lot of modern and some manufacturers are putting, I call them squeal bars, but they make a sound when your brake pad is getting old. When you start getting into that wear bar and getting down to the very end of your brake pads, then that is a good sign that you need to change those, or you need to have them changed by a professional before your trip. Another squeaking sound, if it's doing it all the time, that could be something more of a rotor issue or more of a brake pad issue, but it doesn't really matter why it's making a sound at this point. You're getting ready to go on a road trip and you need to address that immediately. You need to have your brake pads changed. You need to have your rotors checked. Another sound that you might hear when you push on the brakes is a grinding sound. That's probably a rotor issue, especially if it makes so repetitive, like when it grinds. Kind of like, that. So you need to check on those things and have that checked. As far as other sounds go, those are your basic ones. Now there's a steering sound you can find, like if you're turning the steering wheel and you hear this sound, like a sound. Don't you love my renditions? Something like that. That's a power steering. You need to get that fixed immediately as well. Either the pump's going out or you need to put some fluid in there. Generally, you don't lose power steering fluid unless there's a problem with the power steering system. So you need to check on that too. So listen to your car. Take it out for a little drive. Get to know it. Listen for those sounds before you go on this long road trip. I recommend doing this pre-inspection 1 to 2 weeks out, depending on your area, because you need to have time to fix things that you find. You can't do it the night before and get a mechanic to work on it the next morning. Trust me, that never happens. Really, no. Okay, so that's the L part. And it's a bright sunny day here, as you can see. I have on my hat, I have on my SPF, because we don't want to get skin cancer, people, especially on the nose and the ears. So make sure you pay attention to those areas, as we tend to neglect those spots. Back to the car thing. So the next one we're going to do is I. In order to do I, we have to walk around the car and take a good look. So while we're doing the I part, this is our inspection, we're going to walk around our car. This is my Nissan Maxima. And we're not going to put a lot of attention into the tires right now because, as you may think, the T-part and lift might be for tires. Stay tuned and find out. But we are going to look just to make sure we don't see anything rubbing. We are going to look underneath the vehicle. If you have trouble getting down there, just use your phone and record. And there's nothing hanging down under there. Check it out. Go all the way around your vehicle. It's also a good time, you know, if you really want to just look and make sure that there's anything else you have to check on before your trip. Mine obviously needs a good bath, but that's not important right now, so please ignore that. So we're going to go all the way around. We are going to check our headlights and tail lights. Now, I do not have help right now, so generally if I had help, I would have somebody in there pushing the brakes to make sure all of that work. We would push the, put it in reverse and park and make sure everything works there, and we check our signal lights. Do that on the front and the back. And that's the first part of your inspection. You also need to check on your wipers. Look for any cracks, rough spots. I need a wiper on this one just because I know that. If you've run them recently, you will know also because you will have those sounds, and you can tell if it's really doing a good job or not. Okay, next we're going to have to pop the hood. My hood latch is really, really, really far underneath here. It is way under there. And I have to actually go way down here and look, and it's way up under here. And you'll pull that. To open the hood, you have to not only pull the latch on the inside, but there's also underneath here, make sure. There's also underneath here, there's a lever. And if you put your fingers down, see what you can feel. Don't feel it that way. I'm going to come this way. And you can pull up on there, and it's right, oh, there it is. There it is. It's right here on my car. A lot of them are different, so you just have to kind of find it. This hood is going to stay up on its own. Some of them you may want to put something in there to support that, to keep you safe. I have some vehicles that the braces don't hold the hood up very well, but that's how you would open the hood. We're going to inspect the battery. Now, you need to know your battery. If you need to have a jump off, if your battery goes dead and you need help, you need to know where your battery is. And you should always carry jumper cables with you in case someone else doesn't. There are 2 different posts. Don't touch these. But most of the time, the hot or this one is red. And for some reason, mine isn't. I don't know if the cap has disappeared over time, but I still know this is the hot because of how it's structured. It has several attachments on there. You will have more than one because this probably goes to the starter, but this one has a fuse on there as well. So this is our hot, so I don't want to handle that. And this is our ground. The ground is your safe, okay? These look pretty good. You're looking for any type of corrosion that's going on there. Make sure that they're on there really good and they're strong, and that's all you have to do. Later, I'm going to do a video on battery maintenance, and I will show you in that next video. I'm going to go in depth in all of these things I'm going over. I'm going to go in depth in how to work on those things, but this is just our inspection. So we're going to look at that. Okay, so we talked about belt squeaking, and that's the last of our inspection. My belts are actually down in here. I can't get a good look at them, so you may or may not be able to look at them to see if there's any cracking or anything. Most of the time your belts are up in the front. So it just depends on the car. If you can't get to get a good look at them, then you can tell a lot by the squeaking or the sounds that it might make. So we're not going to worry a whole lot about it. My washer fluid, my power steering is underneath this little shroud here. I don't know why. I guess it just looks better. So we're going to go in here. This is just a pull tab. And then there's another little washer there. It reminds me of the anchor that you do in drywall. So we're going to pull that, but make sure you cover it so it doesn't fly off and you lose it. Here it is. This comes out. We're going to set it aside. There, I can see that my belts are way down in there. But we're just going to leave that be and rely on our ears and our mechanic. So to begin our fluid checks, we're going to look at power steering fluid, and we can see on the side here what those levels are. This is our coolant, and we can actually see on this side what those levels are, and they both have hot and cool numbers, so you need to make sure that you check and know your engine temperature in relationship with your fluid levels. So that's the two things there. Our washer fluid is here. You can't see the exact amount in there because this reservoir actually goes all the way down in the bumper there. But you know when you're running out of washer fluid. It's probably a good idea before you go on a trip just to go ahead and top that off. All right. So we're going to put that back together. And these tabs go inside these little areas here. It's really not difficult to do. There we go. And line our holes back up. Put our little anchor in there first. And then pop this little plug in there. And there you go. Okay, now for our brake fluid. Our brake fluid reservoir is back here. It's usually always located in front of the driver's side because your master cylinder, brake cylinder is down in here. But you don't have to open that up. You can see on the side, and mine is right here, and it'll tell you whether it's full or empty. You can see through it just like the other ones. It's probably good not to open your brake reservoir because you don't want to get any debris in there. Brakes are insanely sensitive to that, to debris. Let me see if I can get a little closer. Let's do it this way. Right there it is. Okay. And there's the dipstick, and you're going to pull that out. And I forgot to bring, this is our engine oil. This one actually says on there engine oil. So you're going to check that. And idealistically, you would wipe that off. So we're going to wipe this off. Sorry about my really beautiful thumb thing there. It's a thing we're doing for my arthritis. We're doing these wraps, and so far they seem to be working pretty good. So you're going to see on there, I hope you can see, there is this area here, and there's an H, and then there's an L, and there's a jagged hatched area right in there. Your oil should fall right in there when your engine is cold. Okay, so you'll wipe it off and you'll stick it back. Make sure you support your dipstick so you don't bend it. Looks like this one's been bent before. Okay, this one goes in a certain way. I've never seen one like that. There we go. And we're going to pull it back out. We're going to do another check. Looks like we're pretty good there. Falls right in, right at the top of that H. You do not want to overfill. So anytime, anywhere inside there is good. If you start getting up toward the top here, don't put any in. If you get down here to the bottom, you can probably put a quart in without it going too high. But you buy it by the quart, and I'll show you where to find that. Information's in your owner's manual, what type of oil, or you can go to your car parts store and tell them what kind of car you have, and they'll help you out there. Okay, I'm going to put that back. So let's move on to T for tire. And we're going to look at this. Our tires are these two sets that are on my car right now. And this is our spare tire. Never forget the spare tire. I'm going to show you where that is, and we're going to check the air pressure in that one also. So these are my two tires. And so when I go over here, it says 33 pounds per square inch. That is the pressure that we should have in these two, in my tires, the front and the rear. And then I should have 60 PSI in my spare tire. So let's go get our pressure gauge and start. So I'm going to use this right here. This is a tire gauge. A lot of people don't trust these slide gauges. So I'm going to check it multiple times because they do kind of stick and they get old with time. But they're very, very, very cheap. I recommend you get more than one of these so you can always double check. Or you can buy a digital one, or you can buy one that's a round gauge. I don't have those right now, but I will in my car tire repair and how to change a flat when I do that one. So here it is. We're going to find our valve stem, which is right here. Be very careful not to lose this. These are pretty important, especially when you have tire sensors like I have. We're going to push it onto this part right here and check our tire pressure. It looks like we're at 32. If you'll look, every one of these dashes here is 2 pounds. So there's 30, 32, 34. Well, no, it's not. It's 1 pound. 30, 31, 32. So it looks like we're right at 32. I'm going to do a couple of these tests right there, and that's good. So that tire's good. I'm going to walk around and I'm going to do this on all 4 tires. I always do all 4 tires. Put this back on there so I don't lose it. If you don't have the information in your car, in your inside your door for your tire pressure, it's also on the car. So my tires are P245. It's 245, and there's slash 45 are 18s. R is radial. 18 is your wheel size. Okay, so that's the tire. And if you come around and you keep looking, eventually you'll find your tire pressure. Okay, it's over here. Right there it is. So there's your maximum load, how heavy, and all that, and there's your tire pressure. I'm going to show you some more tire inspections because my tires are actually dry rotting. This car sat for a long time. We got it for a good deal. It had a really low mileage on it. That means it sat a long time. This is a 2012 car. I would bet these are the original tires when the car was purchased in 2012. And I'm going to show you what the dry rot looks like. I'm going to show you the wear bar. Okay? So let's get in there where we can get a little closer look at those things. So I don't know how well you can see that, but you'll see down in these slats here, you'll see cracking. There's cracking there. If you can look super close, there is actually cracking going on. You can see it in the sidewall. So we really need to start looking at getting some tires. We've been trying to make these last as long as possible because they do have enough tread to still be okay to drive, but the dry rot is getting to be an issue. There is a wear bar. I'm going to show you on my Jeep because it's so much easier to see, but you'll see there's these little rubber dashes inside here, and those are wear bars. When you hit that wear bar, the car is no longer legal to drive. In my state, in Virginia, your state inspections won't give you an inspection if your wear bar is showing. Another thing you can do is take a quarter, stick it down in there with Washington's head upside down, and if it touches the top of his head, then you're okay. If you see all of his head, then you're getting a little bit too low. So let me show you on another vehicle you can see better. So these are my Jeep tires. I told you you'd be able to see them a lot better. They have a much heavier tread on them, and the wear bar is right in here. Here's a better look at a wear bar. Right there it is. There's the wear bar. If you get down to that wear bar, it's time to change tires. There's another one when you hit that. And I would recommend doing it before that, especially before wintertime. If your trip is in the wintertime and you may get into some bad weather, you want good tires. Do not go on a long road trip where you might encounter snow with bad tires. It's the #1 way to lose traction. So I hope you found this video informative, and I hope it will help you on your next road trip. The worst thing you can do is drive an unsafe vehicle. So please be safe out there. Check those fluids, check those tires, and please subscribe, like, and support my channel in the best way you can. Loved having you here. If you have any questions, put it below. I'll be glad to answer those. And if you have anything that you want me to cover or go over, or anything you want me to, I don't know, just try out, just put it down there and I'll give it a shot.